Advance Auto Parts. Advance has free battery testing and automotive battery installation with no appointment necessary. And if you're dusting off those ATVs, motorcycles, and jet skis, we've also got $10 off select power sport batteries after mail-in rebate. Your summer's waiting. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
From faulty breakers to broken windows to leaky pipes, roofs, and water heaters, homes and businesses around the country can't work until the pros do. That's why Lowe's created credit programs that work for pros. With everyday 5% savings on eligible purchases, plus through October 31st, 60 days promotional financing on your Lowe's business account or extended terms on eligible account receivables. Learn more in-store or online at lowesforpros.com. Putting money back in your pocket. Just one more reason Lowe's is the new home for pros. Subject to credit approval, U.S. only.
For your Gulf Coast Sports Minute, I'm JP. Coach Shinnick and the Argos continue to make their place in history. The Gulf South Conference named its Football All-Decade team for the 2010s, which featured 3 Argonauts and head coach Pete Shinnick being named Coach of the Decade. Marvin Conley was named to the first team, while Tate Latio and John Williamson were voted onto the second team. Shinnick has been the architect of one of the most inspiring startup programs in the history of college athletics, taking UWF to the NCAA Division II playoffs twice in 4 years of the program. In our recruiting spotlight this week, Jaheim Simmons for the West Florida Jags. Check his film and you will see all you need to know about this young man. At a shade under 200 pounds, Simmons runs like he's a fullback. This young man can punish you between the tackles, outrun you to the edge, and run by you in coverage. He truly is the complete package. Oh, you're looking for consistency? How about averaging over 5 yards a carry and 106 yards a game last year for the Jags? After he burst onto the scene, he already has an offer to UAB and interest from schools in the ACC. And don't worry, there'll be more to come, you can bet on that. That's your Gulf Coast Sports Minute. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies, and rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, for a man age 45 non-tobacco user, it's $1 million of coverage at $75 per month, level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. Remember, 1-866-929-1950. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes for preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly Dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times, and there's one thing I see everywhere: childhood hunger. The sad truth is that 17 million kids struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers up surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. We love our hometown heroes like Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawk Doug Baldwin.
They fake, the lob, wide open, touchdown, Doug Baldwin.
Bigger body than Wilson likes to throw to. Big target. Here's Baldwin, smaller target, and he ducks in for the touchdown.
Hi, this is Doug Baldwin, and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, Sports Call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEVY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson. On this Monday afternoon, hope you had a great weekend. Continue to stay safe, practice social distancing. Don't want to alarm people. Numbers going up a little bit. Well, things are opening back up. It's going to happen. Nonetheless, do your part. Take care of yourself and respect those around you. We're going to be just fine. A little rainy outside right now. The storms will pass here pretty soon. Nonetheless, we have a ton to talk about. And listen, before we get started, we always we start our show off this way, and we'll continue to do so. I want to thank our first responders and healthcare workers this time. We are so grateful for them. Everything that they do, day in and day out, putting themselves out there on the front lines. Friends and family. I have friends and family on both sides. I'm sure you listeners, you know somebody as well. We thank them so much for what they do. And it's behind the scenes that we don't know what goes on. Thankful that they, help us keep normalcy around, which normalcy is not a word we'll probably be saying a whole lot after all this is said and done. But nonetheless, we thank them so much for what they do, helping us get back to normal. But if you're one of those and you're listening, well, we appreciate you. We want to send a shout-out here from ESPN Pensacola and Talk Football with Coach K. We thank you so much. Hopefully, if you're listening, we can help you, have a better day. Talk some football right here. Obviously, that's probably why you're listening. But real quick, before we move on, grocery store employees, truck drivers, all the essential workers out there, we don't want to forget about you either. We thank you so much for everything you've done during this pandemic. I know the pandemic is still going on, but we appreciate you sitting yourself out there, whether you're cleaning carts or you're out there making sure the shelves are stocked, you're a truck driver supplying us with everything we need right now, going back to especially our toilet paper shortage. We do thank you so much. And look, I know a bunch of truck drivers have said, they listen to the show, and that's awesome. I think it's amazing, and we appreciate you guys as well. But look, first things first, Coach, how are you doing today, my friend?
Doing great. Good to be with you, JP.
Well, Coach, we have a ton to talk about today, and good news, bad news, moving on regardless here. I want to start with, the reports are coming out. Now we're just basically waiting. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott plans to sign his $31.4 million exclusive franchise tender by sometime today. Now, Adam Schefter reported that. Adam Schefter is usually on top of his game here. But the two sides still have until July 15th to work out a long-term deal. The Cowboys, of course, placed the franchise tag on Prescott March 18th. We all know, we've talked about this, Coach, just ad nauseum. We talk about, will Prescott sign the tag? Will they get a deal done? Well, it seems that Prescott is going to sign his franchise tender right here. Now, Coach, you've said this from the beginning. You thought there was something else going on here that, look, if the Cowboys were going to get the deal done, they were going to get it done beforehand. Waiting this long, I think it's obvious. I'm hearing a lot of people say, Coach, and I laugh at this. Not sure we'll get your take on this in just a second, but that Prescott's signing this deal early because he wants to take the power away from the Cowboys, and he wants to make sure he gets his money next year regardless of whether it's Cowboys or not. I think it's Dak Prescott realizes that this deal is not going to happen, and he wants to go ahead and sign it and be done with it and move on. Coach, what say you on this whole entire deal?
Well, I've said before that I felt that there was something behind the scenes here. There is something that seems evident to me. I think the Jones boys, meaning Jerry and his son, don't see Dak Prescott as being the quarterback that they are truly happy with. They see for the future of the Cowboys, and they see as a guy who's going to lead them to the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl win. Because ultimately that's what they're after, and they're after in as short a time as possible. I'm certain that Jerry Jones recognizes his mortality And he has put together a good football team, a lot of talent, good offensive line, and good talent elsewhere. If we know that Zach Prescott has an atrocious record against winning football teams, I think he's something like 1-6, 1-7, 1-8, something like that. If we know that he is not the most accomplished quarterback. Now, when I say quarterback, that encompasses quite a bit. It's not just athletic ability, and it's not just a strong arm, and it's not just the other thing. It encompasses a whole heck of a lot. I like Zach Prescott. I think he's a fine young man, and I think he's done a good job. He certainly has not done a great job. People would be crazy to put him in the elite category. And quite frankly, I think Jerry Jones wants an elite quarterback to run that football team. And he doesn't have it there, and he's not going to commit to any out years. And I think this is where they wanted him. That's what they wanted him to do is sign the franchise tag, and we're going at the end of this year. They may go in another direction if they want to. As I've said before, it would not shock me to see Dalton playing quarterback for the Cowboys before this year is over.
Yeah, Coach, I agree. We've talked about this, me and you, even off air, and we both agree on that. And the one thing, on the Dan Patrick show this morning, Dan Patrick was talking about this whole deal as well, and he reiterated a lot of the same things you said, Coach, that there's obviously a little something going on, he believes, behind the scenes here. And, he was also asked the question, do you think Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback? And he said no. He said because to put yourself in elite status, you have to win. You have to win the games to put your team over the top. And he is, 1-6 last year, 6-17 in his career against teams that have a winning record or playoff teams. That's just not going to cut it. And Dan Patrick also went on to say, and which I think is a very good point, he goes, listen, nobody wants to win a championship or a Super Bowl more than Jerry Jones. He wants to prove that he doesn't need Jimmy Johnson and those guys, that type of thing. He has paid these other people. If he truly believed Dak Prescott was the guy, why would he not pay him? People need to understand that if he truly believes in him, the 1 year would not be a big deal to him. He would pay him. This is a man that's paid a lot of people on that team right now. And if he was truly believing that this was the guy that was going to lead him to the promised land, he would do it, and he wouldn't hesitate doing it. So I think that's what we need to understand. And for people to say, well, it's a team game, well, I can break it down of basically in his career, the 6-17 that he is against playoff teams, 25 touchdowns, 25 interceptions. That's all I'm going to say on that. That's Jameis Winston we looked at last year as a horrible quarterback, throwing 33 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. That's numbers like that. I just want to make that very clear to people. Look, Dak Prescott, I agree with you, Coach. He's a good quarterback. He's a good kid. He has done nothing really wrong when you look at it. He just played. But at the same time, that doesn't designate you as elite money, just being a good person. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We'll see if he signs today. But once again, Dak Prescott, according to Adam Schefter, is supposed to sign his franchise tag today, even though he has until July 15th to do so. Coach, moving on here, the big news in the weekend. Look, LSU, thought it was interesting. Scott Woodward, the athletic director, was on Paul Feinbaum's show on Friday. On Saturday, late Saturday afternoon, we got some news that defending national champion LSU, well, they had 30 players test positive for the coronavirus. Now, understand, I want people to understand this. We talked about this before. They traced it back to a Tigerland. It's bars and clubs, things that are off campus right there that a lot of these players had went to. Once again, I say this because Scott Woodward's not panicking. He's released a statement as well, basically that they were prepared for cases like this. All these schools are prepared for this. But, Coach, when you look at this, this is what I talked about. When people say that these players are being cornered for signing waivers and things like this, I disagree. First off, Gene Smith, the athletic director, came out of Ohio State and said, look, they're not to protect us as much as educate the players as well and understand that we both have a part in doing this to be able to play college football. Now, Greg Sankey came on the Dan Patrick show, and I just wanted to mention this because Greg Sankey said, I want people to understand, look, the protocols that we have in place, nobody talks about that. Everybody talks about the negative. we are doing everything we can. These players are set up perfectly, but they have to do their part as well. And, Coach, when you see 30 players being linked going back to a bar outside in Baton Rouge, this is what we talk about. These players have to do their part too. So I'm not going to criticize LSU. They're doing everything they can. I'm not going to criticize some of these other universities. We knew it was going to be hard to contain these players, but Coach, this is it's not the end of the world. These players, look, they're being taken care of. They're going to be able to move on, but this is what we've been talking about the whole entire time of it's up to the players as well.
Well, certainly, and listen, I'm not shocked at the numbers of players that are coming back with the virus. It stands to reason, really, when you put all the pieces together. Now, you're not going to keep 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids quarantined in a house somewhere. That's the most difficult task I can imagine. And they're going to be out and about. They're going to be with friends. They're going to be at gatherings. And listen, nobody that age thinks that anything bad is going to happen to them anyway. I think they're going to live forever and never get sick, never get hurt. So it's not out of the realm that many kids would come in. Actually, they're in a much better position now because they will quarantine them. They will get them well there. And then after that, I think all of them should realize the importance of adhering to what will keep them healthy so they can play football. And all you have to do is say, your season's in jeopardy. You may not be able to play that if you go out and put yourself in a position of getting the virus, then you're not going to play. So they've got to realize that. I think that's going to contribute to a great deal of adherence to some rules that obviously are going to have to be put in place here right away to keep them all healthy, get them healthy, and keep them healthy for the season.
Yeah, I think it's important what you just said there. Maybe these players will understand what's happened here, and it comes down to this. The players have the opportunity. If they're scared to go out and play because of the virus, they don't have to. They can move on, go about their business. There are other people that were willing to take that risk, but at the same time, these players need to understand that if they're truly about playing football, you're going to have to be uncomfortable. You're not going to be able to do the same exact things that you've always done like normal, like these guys going out to the bars and stuff. Look, I'm not criticizing them because I'm sure that's what they were doing anyway when they normally come to campus like that. And we know they're looked at, especially after winning a national championship, they're looked at upon like almost heroes just because of being able to take down Alabama last year and everything that was with that team. Just a spectacular season. So it is going to be tough, but hopefully they realize what's going on right now and, well, simply just take it a little more serious. But, Coach, I want to move on something here. Interesting comments by Brett Favre. Now, Brett Favre was talking to TMZ Sports, not exactly the greatest, but nonetheless, he said he thinks Colin Kaepernick will reach a hero status in football similar to that of Pat Tillman. Now, his quote is, "I can only think right off the top of my head, Pat Tillman's another guy who did something similar, and we regard him as a hero," Favre said. "So I'd assume that hero status will be stamped with Kaepernick as well." For those that don't know Pat Tillman, well, he was a safety for the Arizona Cardinals. He chose to leave the NFL for the U.S. Army in the wake of the September 11th terrorist attacks, and he was killed in 2004 by friendly fire while deployed in Afghanistan. Coach, I mean, look, for Favre, Pat Tillman, it was an absolute hero. I'm not discouraging that by any means. What he did was amazing, especially in a time when we talk about the attacks, the terrorist attacks, and how it was just a shame. But when you look at Pat Tillman, Coach, what do you make of the comments by Favre? I mean, I'm struggling to get my head around this one.
JP, to say I'm disappointed is not nearly strong enough, but I am severely disappointed in that statement. Pat Tillman, if you looked up in the dictionary the word hero, maybe they should have a picture of Pat Tillman beside the word. A true American hero. And to put that stamp on Colin Kaepernick is quite frankly kind of an insult. I'm not taking away Kaepernick's ability to think what he wants to think, to say what he wants to say. He can stand up on any podium and say it at any news conference that he wants to overtake and insert his opinions and his beliefs. That's fine. He has a right to do that. But I contend he does not have a right to insult. It is insulting to me for anyone to kneel during our national anthem and before our flag. That's an insult. It's not only an insult to me, it's an insult to millions of people. I have to just be very honest about it. And to say anything other than that would be totally dishonest. So that, in essence, is how it affects me. I'm very, very sorry to hear Brett Favre say that.
Yeah, it's with what you said, Coach, Kaepernick. Look, this is not taking away what Kaepernick has done, and look, we're changing in our country right now. Whether you like it or not, people, it's different. There's a lot going on in our country. Everybody has a different side of things, but and I don't, the military side of it. We live in a military town. This is not. I want to make this very clear. This is not because Pat Tillman is white. I could care less. I have the utmost respect. I had one of my best friends growing up was an African American. His grandfather, was in the military and had passed, and he never really knew him. Just to hear the stories of what it meant to him, and I look at military different, Coach. I do, and whether I'm right or wrong on this is just my viewpoint. I don't take it, like I said, I don't take anything away from Kaepernick and what he's done for the movement and all this stuff, making change. But the military to me just means a little bit more, just because it's just of what it is and the freedoms that we have now. I don't want that to sound the wrong way, but that's my personal opinion. So but Pat Tillman, what he did was you're right. He was a hero, and that's enough said. Listen, I want to move on.
JP, one other statement here. I understand your feelings about the military, and certainly the military is one reason. It's not the only reason. The biggest reason is our way of life, our culture, our freedoms, our entrepreneurship. The mothers and fathers and children who have grown up in this country and made it what it is, and the flag and the national anthem stands for all of that, including the military, including the rights of all of our people. You do have the right to say what you want to say, but there should be another platform, in my opinion. There should be another platform to do it. You couldn't just go take over the Congress or the Senate or the White House and voice your opinion from there. That's against the law. You couldn't do that. Nor would it be acceptable in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And to me, when you disrespect the flag, and Kaepernick should know, and all of the minorities in this country should know what disrespect is. And disrespect to the flag and to the national anthem is something that really, really hits home to a lot of people. And it's certainly the military, but it's a heck of a lot of other things as well. It's everything that we stand for.
Yeah, Coach, I understand completely on that, and it's something interesting moving on here, and like I said, getting to see my father yesterday on Father's Day, of course, with everything going on right now, it means just so much more as the older I get, Coach. Understanding how much family means to me. I've always been a family person. You know that, Coach. I grew up in a small community. That's the one thing that my father said yesterday that resonated with me big time, is just right now this country needs prayer more than ever, and that's something that my father normally wouldn't say. But that's I think, very important right now. This country does need prayer. We don't need to ignore it. Is our country perfect? No, but I still go back to this, Coach. We live in the best darn country in the entire world. If you don't believe me, go somewhere else and check it out. You will come back, I promise. But that's all I'm going to say on that is we just need a lot of prayer in our country right now. But, Coach, I want to go to break. When we come back, look, agree or disagree. It's a segment that I want to do here, Coach, with some things that were said about SEC coaches by other SEC coaches. Joe Brady likes the direction the locker room and the quarterback room is right there with the Panthers. His transition from college to the NFL, especially after jumping on the scene with the LSU Tigers last year. And Alabama's 2021 recruiting class, well, they were starting pretty bad, being about 40th. They've gotten 8 recruits in about the past month now. We're jumping. We'll talk about some of those recruits as well. All that and more coming back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Over the last few months, we've realized that those excuses of not doing yard work, you've had to pay up. No excuses to get fat eating a bunch of rancid chicken wings and 3 pitchers because it's football Sunday. Tired of trying to pronounce names overseas at 4 a.m. that we don't know in Korea in baseball. But sports is coming back, and we're optimistic to carry all the biggest games on the Sports Drive, 5 to 7 each every night on ESPN Pensacola. Thank God all of this didn't happen during college football season.
Hurricane season is upon us, and although we aim to bring you the latest news in sports, we're committed to bringing the Pensacola community the latest updates and information during the 2020 hurricane season. In collaboration with our sister stations, News Radio 92.3 AM 1620 and Cat Country 98.7, stay up to date with breaking weather news and updates on the biggest storms impacting Northwest Florida by checking our Facebook pages at Cat Country 98.7, News Radio 92.3, and ESPN Pensacola. The latest news and sports can be heard on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Get the latest news and football on Talk Football with Coach K. Daily sports talk on your drive home on The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante. And a recap and look ahead of the sports week on Sports Call with Davis and Justin every Saturday. Plus, national sports radio talk on Golic and Wingo, The Dan Lebertard Show with Stu Gotts, and The Paul Feinbaum Show. It all lives on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you. alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Monday afternoon. A little rainy outside. Storms are supposed to pass on through here in a couple hours. Nonetheless, we're talking some football with you. And, Coach, before we get started talking about, look, agree or disagree here, I do want to let people know, I can't believe I totally did not say this before, but Mike Vrabel, the coach of the Tennessee Titans, head coach of the Tennessee Titans, will join us tomorrow at 12:15. Coach, you know it's going to be awesome, a treat for me, especially being a Tennessee Titans fan. But, Coach, it's going to be great to hear from him and what's going on right now within that organization and the NFL.
You bet. You bet. We're going to get a little history from Mike as well. So it should be a very interesting conversation. They've done a good job up there. He did an excellent job last year. And, just look at the guys. This is kind of interesting. Really, it's trivial, I'm sure, to many people. But look at the coaches that have made huge decisions and changed their quarterbacks at a critical time of what happened. Look at Saban with the change to Tua. Look at Clemson with the change to Lawrence up there, and look at Vrabel's with the change they made last year from a guy who was supposed to be a rising young star in the National Football League to a guy who many thought couldn't play. And when he took over, they were crazy. They beat everybody and went all the way to the AFC Championship game. Now, maybe an interesting story with that little bit of trivia.
It's going to be great, Coach, to get the insight. And Vrabel's a very interesting coach. You know, we've had a great friend of yours, great friend of the show, Jim Haslett there, the inside linebackers coach for the Tennessee Titans as well. You remember him with the New Orleans Saints. You also remember him as being a heck of a linebacker in the NFL as well, one of the toughest there ever was. But saying that Vrabel is just a football guy. I mean, just a football nut when you look at it. He just wants to win. And you've seen that with the Tennessee Titans in the short period of time that he's taken over. And surrounding himself, I think it's important when we talk about these coaches. Vrabel's not necessarily the big veteran that everybody thought was going to be able to do what he did, but he surrounds himself, and you look at bringing guys like Jim Haslett and guys that have that type of knowledge, bring them in. That's what he does, and that's where a lot of the success comes from. But as a Tennessee Titan fan, Coach, I'm going to be excited. Once again, Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, will join us on the show tomorrow here on Talk Football with Coach K at 12:15. You are not going to want to miss it, but going to be a lot of fun. But, Coach, look, getting into agree or disagree here. Now, these are some things about SEC football coaches that were coming from SEC football coaches. Now, the coaches that said this were not released. This was actually out of Athlon Sports Magazine. But I want to start with this one here. Now, this is one that I will agree with this. I will say this, but I have to tread lightly, Coach, understanding my Auburn roots on the other side of the family here. But it feels like every single year, talk radio, media, and fans want to fire Gus Malzahn, and every year they find ways to reinvent and improve. Now, Coach, I will say, before I send it over to you, I agree with it feels like every single year everybody wants to fire Gus Malzahn. I will disagree saying every year they find ways to reinvent and improve. I won't say improve because they always seem to be in that 8 or 9 win category every single year, Coach. But what say you, agree or disagree with it feels like every single year talk radio, media, and fans want to fire Gus, and every year they find ways to reinvent and improve?
Well, I guess you could say they reinvent and improve. I don't buy that one. But I will tell you this. He's been in trouble with more than media and something. He's been in trouble with the people in charge at Auburn as well, and has narrowly escaped. If he hadn't had that unbelievable contract that he got with a buyout, something like $10 million or more than that, he would have been gone already.
Yep.
But I tell you, anytime you beat Alabama now, you get a little cushion there. And he's got a little cushion. I don't think he can afford a terrible year, but by beating Alabama last year, that gave him probably a ride through this year and into next year, depending on how they do. But yeah, he's been on the cutting edge here for quite a while.
Coach, look, the next one is actually one that I laughed because I had to put it in here because this is exactly what you mentioned ever since we've talked about Chad Morris going over there. But the first question everyone has is who is going to run that offense? Chad Morris was a disaster at Arkansas, but he's one of the architects of that Clemson offense. He's a great play caller with his own style. So is this a total program commitment, or will Gus Malzahn yank it back the first time they run into trouble? Coach, agree or disagree with that statement?
Well, I agree. I think, just as long as it goes well, he'll probably ride with it. But if it's the least bit down the tubes, or he feels like it's not getting done what he wants to get done, or it doesn't look like what he wants it to look like, he's gonna take that back. And let me tell you, the same is going to happen in Dallas too with McCarthy. You can bet on that. If Jerry Jones will let him do it, that's amazing. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Coach. Our next question here, it's a bit of a blunt assessment on Arkansas, but look, Pittman is a well-respected career assistant. Talking about their new head coach, of course, coming over from Georgia, Sam Pittman, is a well-respected career assistant who is great at his job, but it's hard to find what he's got or what he can say or do with that program that could suddenly turn things around. They've got no personnel. The roster right now looks like the NCAA sanctions hit them. Coach, agree or disagree with that statement right there about Sam Pittman in Arkansas?
Good gracious, he's got a tough job, I'm telling you. There's no doubt about that. But, he did such a great job as an offensive line coach. And I think he's going to get some carryover there because you have to have there's certain certain things about the guy that coaches the big boys up front that may give him a little more authority than some other coaches. But it's not like you're going to readily jump from there to a head coaching job. That's going to be the big thing. But my guess is that he's going to just take it slow and easy. They're going to allow him to do that. And you'll see a slight change, maybe a slight tick up this year. And then we'll see what happens from there. But tough job for Pittman at Arkansas. I know a little something about that firsthand, too. But go ahead.
No, I think here's the thing that I will say is, Sam Pittman coming over from Georgia, that's great. But when you look at the roster, to say the roster looks like NCAA sanctions hit them, maybe according to SEC standards, I could see that. But they do have, and whether you like him or not, Felipe Franks coming over there will probably be an upgrade for them. But they do have one of the best backs in the SEC in Rakeem Boyd. They also have the combination of Trey Knox and Treylon Burks. We'll help them. And remember, Kendall Briles is over there now. So we'll see what happens with the offense. It'll get a little bit better. I agree. I think this is a team that's going to take a few years, obviously, at the very least, to get themselves back to mediocrity. But they also have Barry Odom on the defensive side. So he's been a great defensive coordinator. He did a great job at Missouri with the defense over there. Maybe not as a whole, but this is going to be a team that, to say sanctions hit them, well, maybe, like I said, to SEC standards, I would agree with that. My last question, Coach. This is going to be a Heisman campaign season for Najee Harris, the running back for University of Alabama right there. Go ahead and make your bet. They don't have a quarterback locked in yet, and their other weakness on offense is turning over receivers. So we think Steve Sarkisian is going to find ways to scheme Najee Harris into everything they can. Coach, agree or disagree that this will be a Heisman campaign season for Najee Harris?
Well, I'm not going to say he's going to win the Heisman. I think he'll certainly be a Heisman contender. And I would agree they're going to try to get him the ball as much as they can in every situation, the run, the pass, maybe even occasionally a return. I don't know. But I do know that he's a heck of a back, and he will be in contention. And I disagree. I think the quarterback job should be positioned right now at Alabama with Jones.
Yeah, I would say that. I think Najee Harris. I don't say Najee Harris has a Heisman campaign just because they still have 2 first-round NFL wide receivers out there at wide receiver, Jalen Waddle and those guys. But I agree with you. I think the quarterback situation may not be locked in on who's going to be the quarterback. We'll see. But right now, I think Mac Jones is the guy. We saw an article come out about Bryce Young is ready to go. Of course, he's ready to go. Sure he is, but he also needed a spring to practice as well to get comfortable, where Mac Jones stepped in last year for the last few games for Alabama. I think that puts him in first right now. That's what I would say, because Mac did a fantastic job last year filling in. But, Coach, before we go to break here, look, Alabama, I think a lot of people were talking about a month ago, Alabama was 40th, and I know it's still early in the 2021 commitment rankings right there, recruiting rankings. But lately here, in about the past month, they've had 8 guys come and commit to the University of Alabama. Now they're sitting, of course, in the top 25. Coach, when you look at some of these recruits here, they're getting some big-time players. Obviously, they just got Ja'Cory Brooks, a 4-star wide receiver out of Booker T. Washington in Miami. Not our Booker T. Washington. 6'3", 185 guy, number 38 overall player. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, we can talk about another guy, wide receiver. Once again, we talk about wide receivers at Alabama, and they continue to go to the NFL. Another 4-star, Jay Hall, out of Valrico, Florida. Coach, when you look at this, Alabama being I think they're 24th overall right now. I know, like I said, it's still early to see people say, yep, see, Saban's losing it. Coach, I mean, is that laughable at this point just because it's still early, but not only that, it's Nick Saban. I mean, Nick Saban has always had a top 5 recruiting class, and I wouldn't imagine anything changing anytime soon.
I would agree totally. That's crazy. If really Alabama alumni should get together, and anybody associated with the University of Alabama that would put out something like that, they should be sanctioned. Can't go to games. Can't speak on behalf of the University of Alabama. That's crazy. He'll end up in the top 5, maybe even the top recruiting class in the country before it's over.
Coach, it goes back to everything you've said. Winning breeds winning. And who would not want to go to the University of Alabama? I mean, we're seeing guys that don't want to go to the University of Alabama because they know they probably won't play because Bama has the top recruits, and so they want to go somewhere to play. And I think, look, that's a great problem to have if you're Alabama. Once again, though, every single year, you look at last year on defense, they had a lot of young guys that had to play because some of their veterans got hurt. So those are all top recruits. They'll all be ready to go this year. This is a team that we're talking about going and winning again. We're expecting out of right now, just of course, a lot of things can happen, but Alabama to win the SEC and Clemson and Ohio State to be the other two in the playoff there. It would surprise us if any of those teams won a national championship. But once again, Alabama, forget about it. This team is ramped up and ready to go. Going to have another great season, barring some, of course, injuries like they had last year. But I agree with you, Coach. Anybody that says anything like that, get them out of here. They're obviously not a part of it. They're obviously not close to what happens in Tuscaloosa anyway, because this team will be just fine. Saban's been doing it for quite some time, is looked at as one of the greatest ever, and it's not going to stop right now. But, Coach, we got to go to break. When we come back, well, we're going to talk about the USA Today released their NFL power rankings. We'll see. I think the teams at the top maybe won't surprise you, but teams as we go down the list, well, interesting to see where they place them. We'll talk about that, and we'll get into some more college news as well right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
I'm Little Teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Things keep getting bigger and better at Daryl's Sewing of Pensacola. Daryl's Sewing is the largest sewing machine dealer in the Pensacola area, offering a variety of sewing machines, sergers, and embroidery systems. Daryl's also carries a large selection of sewing machine furniture. Financing is available. For more information, call them at 438-5444. Daryl's Sewing is located at 6705 North Davis Highway between Creighton and Burgess in Pensacola, or register online at sewinginpensacola.com.
Whether you're building a new home or considering a renovation, choosing the right construction partner makes all the difference. At Lacoste Construction Group, they pride themselves on client experience and true craftsmanship, specializing in both new construction and renovations for both commercial and residential projects. Lacoste Construction Group will deliver you a quality turnkey project and is with you every step from consulting and budgeting to design and engineering. Get started turning your home or business into the space of your dreams today at LacosteConstructionGroup.com.
This is Davis Allen from Sports Call with Davis and Justin, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you, alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson. On this Monday afternoon, a little rainy outside. Look, we are so glad you joined us on the show. Want to remind people again, Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, will join us tomorrow on the show here at 12:15. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be great to hear from him. But, Coach, look, talking about the NFL here, we've broken down some power rankings as we go along. Things have changed. Teams pick up players as we move on. USA Today released their power rankings, always pretty good here. Now, I won't spend too much time with the first teams at the top. It doesn't seem that it changes for anybody, even though we may disagree with it. Coach, Kansas City Chiefs, number one. Any surprise there? Any disagreement?
No, I'm not surprised. I think just based on the reigning champions, you've got to put them there to start with. They didn't have a lot of loss in the way of personnel or anything at the end of last season and during the off season. So you gotta put them there.
Coach, number two here, the Baltimore Ravens. I know we feel pretty much the same on this one, Coach. Of course, they had a fairly good draft, depending on what you look at. But I think it comes back to how is that offense going to work. I think the defense is going to be fine. And I think we always think about the Ravens, and we think about the old good defenses back in the day, Ray Lewis and all those guys. But, Coach, it comes down to this. I just have a sour taste in my mouth of this Baltimore team after what I saw the Tennessee Titans do. And, yeah, you know what? I'm not biased towards this. I want to make that very clear. I was surprised the Titans did it as well. But you had mentioned this even during the season with the Baltimore Ravens, that there was going to be a time where a team was able to contain them and stop what they were doing offensively. And, Coach, the Titans, even though Lamar Jackson, they let him basically throw the football all around the field, they got him inside the 20, and he threw multiple interceptions at crucial times, and that's where the Titans just ran away with the game. And, Coach, I be honest with you, I think that will be a building block here for a lot of teams to look at how to handle the Baltimore Ravens moving forward. I just can't see them having the same success again.
Well, yeah, I think there are going to be a number of ways they'll look at. Won't necessarily be letting them throw for 500 yards because I don't think they can do that. They can do that again on a bet. But anytime that you have a person with less than totally adequate skills throwing the football in the National Football League, there are ways to shut them down. And I think they will do that. And then keep in mind, too, Cleveland went over to Baltimore during the season and shut them out last year. So, no, I don't see Baltimore being there, especially with that off-season planning that most teams did. I'm sure that was disrupted some with all this virus stuff and having to get out of offices and do virtual meetings with players and all. But for the most part, people had some time to concentrate on it. So be prepared for Baltimore to take a little fall here.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Coach. And number 3 on this list, now I think we both would not put the Ravens number 2 here. Number 3, I would actually bump up to 1 or 2. I understand, look, if you want to put Kansas City 1, absolutely, I agree with you. They didn't have a whole lot of turnover there. Got the guys back. They look to be, ramped and ready to go. I would put this team, the San Francisco 49ers, number 2 on my list, Coach. I just think, look, they're the same team. They're pretty much the same exact team, except they got rid of Emmanuel Sanders. They added another big-time wide receiver to open it up. I think that helps them. Kittle and the squad, the offensive line's good. Jimmy G is a guy that I don't think gets enough respect. That defense is going to be really good again. Robert Saleh's there. He had a top 3 defense last year. Remember, they held the Kansas City Chiefs to 10 points in the fourth quarter. They just couldn't finish the job, and that one play sparked the Chiefs, and that's the type of team the Chiefs were. Once they got rolling, they were tough to stop. They built a lot of momentum there. Coach, when I look at this 49ers team, shoring up Kyle Shanahan to a 6-year contract just recently, I think this team is built to go to the Super Bowl again. I know that there's a lot of things that have to happen, but when I don't look at Seattle. Seattle's a good team in that division, but I don't think there's really a team to truly, truly worry about, because this team and the 49ers, this is a team I look at and see they're almost flawless when you look at that roster, Coach.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think San Francisco should probably be there at number 2 right now, based on how the year ended up and with what they did in the off season, meaning what they didn't have happen to them, and that they didn't have much attrition at all. And I think ended up with a couple of good draft picks, and they're going to be a good football team. I like Garoppolo. I've said that before, so I think they're set there. And they should be number 2.
Coach, looking at number 4 on this list, this is interesting because number 4 is the New Orleans Saints. Number 5 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, regardless of what you think here, you could flip-flop these teams however you want. I think I would put them. I may even put the Bucs above the Saints right now. It's hard for me to say that, but I just think with what the Bucs have done, we'll talk about them in a minute. But Coach, the New Orleans Saints here, Drew Brees comes back again. We know what he's been able to do. Of course, the Saints, they moved on. Teddy Bridgewater's gone as his backup. Did a good job. They did sign Jameis Winston as a backup here. They have Taysom Hill. That operation that he's been doing at Taysom Hill, using him. Look, I think that they have done a great job. They still have Michael Thomas, who, unbelievable the season he had last year. They did have Emmanuel Sanders, which is not the hot shot receiver maybe that a lot of people thought they were going to add, but I think he is a good addition to bring, to come on, a little bit of a veteran here with guys like Traquan Smith. Look, we know, Coach, the defense had some holes last year, but they stepped up in some big moments, Coach. When you look at a guy like, Janoris Jenkins comes back. I think that's a big pickup for them, picking him up last year at the corner position to kind of shore up this secondary. Coach, not a whole lot of holes in this New Orleans Saints team. The only thing I will say is, the tough road for them is they got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady right on their heels now in that NFC South division.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad. Excuse me. I don't think it's a bad choice to put New Orleans here, because I think it's going to be a heck of a race in that division. But I would put the Bucs there, quite honestly. I don't think Sanders is going to be the great impact receiver that some people have thought he would be. I really just don't see that happening. I think he's right on the edge of the cliff if he hasn't taken a little fall already. And I do know they need some help there, because they can't continue to have Thomas catch 120, 130 passes and people not shut that down some way, somehow. That he's been able to beat double coverage, triple coverage, and everything. And Breeze is such a pinpoint passer. They've been able to do it, but I don't see that continuing. I just think Tampa Bay, when you look at that entire football team and the improvement that you can see coming, just with Brady at quarterback, plus Gronkowski, plus an outstanding draft pick, best offensive lineman in the draft. I just don't see. They have to be number 3 right now. I like them 3, Saints 4.
Yeah, Coach, I can't believe I'm saying this because I've been on the Saints train for a while. But when you look at the Bucs, and look, I'm starting to drink a little bit of the Kool-Aid here, because the more you look at these guys, Tom Brady, that's all you need to say at the quarterback position. And for those that think he's too old, I laugh at that, because this is a guy that has used articles from 15 years ago to find motivation. So if you think that all this talk right now about him being too old is not going to be motivation, he is in the best shape of his life. Like I've said, with guys like Phillip Rivers, and I'm sure we'll talk about him tomorrow a little bit in the power rankings, but this is a guy that will be rejuvenated, that has new life, that is fresh, that is away, and wants to prove not just everybody wrong, but the Patriots as well, that he can go out and win a championship. He has all the respect for them, but we all know as an athlete, you always want to be able to go somewhere else and prove that you can do it on your own as well. But Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, those guys, Tristan Wirfs, like you said, drafting right there. This is a team that you better look out for. They drafted Keyshawn Vaughn, the running back right there that's being compared to James White style of player, which fits, of course, Brady in that offense. So the defense is going to be good enough. I really think that. They did a good job right there with Sue and Villa and Golston and Jason Pierre-Paul. They got Devin White at linebacker position, Levante David, Shaq Barrett. I mean, there's talent all over the field for this team. So I would put them number 3 on the list as well. But, Coach, look, we'll talk more about this here tomorrow. Get into this list a little bit more. We got to go to break. When we come back, we'll talk about some college news right here. Talk about the Lone Star State a little bit, and we'll talk about Joe Brady and that quarterback room for the Carolina Panthers, how things in the transition is going for him right here when we come back on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Jackson Pace Pharmacy has exciting news for ED patients. Viagra 100 milligram generic is finally here. Get it today. 30 tablets for $80, less than $3 a pill. You heard right. Viagra 100 milligram generic is less than $3 a tablet. A prescription from your doctor is required, so stop by Jackson Pace Pharmacy and cash in on the savings today. 2256 West 9 Mile Road in Pensacola.
The greatest name in sports radio is ESPN. Wherever you have Alexa, you can hear ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Just say,
Alexa, enable ESPN Pensacola 1330 skill.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Monday afternoon. A little rainy outside. We're talking some football with you. Final segment of the show here, Coach. Now, look, we're talking about some teams here in the Lone Star State. Now, we think high school football, and obviously California, Texas, and Florida are the teams we think of. You haven't seen stadiums until you've seen stadiums in Texas for high school football. It doesn't matter, small town or whatever. They love their high school football, Coach, and they love their football overall there in Texas. And we talk about a recruiting hotbed. Coach, the University of Texas and Texas A&M, do want to talk about them for just a second here, just because, look, these are teams that we haven't really heard about in quite some time. Remember Texas, of course, not very long ago, in 2018, Sam Ehlinger declaring we're back after beating Georgia in that game there. On the heels of that 10-4 season, they come back last year, of course, with an 8-5 season, which, remember, got Mac Brown fired as well. Year 3 under Tom Herman, like they found themselves still looking up to a team like Baylor right now. They're trying to reach that hierarchy in the state of Texas, and really right now Texas A&M is that team. But Coach, Texas A&M is a team in the SEC that hasn't really taken that next step. Now, look at the brutal schedule they had last year. It was unbelievable. I mean, the 7-5 season, rightfully so, when you talk about playing those top 5 teams like that. But Coach, when I look at the schedule for Texas, really they play at LSU to start or the second week of the season. Outside of that, they got Oklahoma. Baylor, I guess, is a team to look out for, and that's it for them. I do want to mention, though, for Texas A&M, this is a team that I think, Coach, I think we both agree on this, is on the doorstep of being great, not just good, great. They have Mississippi State October 3rd. They play at Auburn on the 17th, and then Alabama and LSU to finish out the season. A much easier schedule than last year. And, Coach, for Texas, they got their work cut out for them with recruiting and everything else. But Texas A&M, Coach, I really think this is the team that will take the next step. What say you on either one of these teams, Texas or Texas A&M, taking the next step to possibly not just winning the conference, but maybe here in the next few years making the playoff?
Well, I've said here for quite a while, I think Texas A&M, as far as being an ideal situation from the standpoint of location, facilities, money in the program, alumni, they're hard to beat. And then, of course, being in the Southeastern Conference and in the state headquartered or located in the state of Texas, where you have some outstanding recruiting possibilities, and being in the Southeastern Conference, kids want to play in the Southeastern Conference. You have to play against the Alabamas, the LSUs, the Georgias, the Floridas, and they want to be, I think, given the facilities, the beautiful stadium, all the facilities you can ask for as a coach, everything is there. They have the money, the alumni with deep pockets, everything about that school. The only thing I can't say for sure, and nobody could for sure, I don't mean that, but that I wouldn't say with any degree of certainty, is how it's going to be handled. I'm not as certain about their coaching situation as I am about their opportunity for somebody to go all the way with them. Yeah, and I don't mean that wrong. It's just that I'm just not familiar enough with and a longer program with Jimbo, whether that's going to be enough to get it done.
Yeah, I agree with that, Coach. I think Tom Herman, the jury's out on a guy like Tom Herman. We're not sure what that's going to look like. He's been very mediocre right now. We'll see what happens. But for a guy like Jimbo, we know what he can do. We'll see if it happens. But you're right. When it comes to money, comes to facilities, there are two schools that are hard to beat. But, Coach, that sound means it's time for us to go as usual. We have so much we didn't get to today. But guess what? We're going to get after it tomorrow, Coach. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You bet. Look forward to it, JP.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Coach. We appreciate our listeners. Remember, Mike Vrabel, head coach of the Tennessee Titans, will join us tomorrow as well at 12:15. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, talking some football with you right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
First Take Your Take on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80, and ESPN News. I'm Jason Fitz. We start, as always, with the headlines that you need to know. We'll get you a little bit of golf news. That's right, golf news. The PGA Championship is going to be held. It's going to be held without fans. It's been given the green light to be held at Harding Park. So the first major championship to be contested in 2020, the PGA Championship, will be played at San Francisco's Harding Park, but with no spectators. The PGA of America announced a decision on Monday after spending months considering other scenarios, including moving the tournament to other venues. So the organization decided to stick with its original site for the rescheduled tournament, which will be played August 6th through the 9th. The PGA had been originally scheduled for May 14th through 17th, obviously rescheduled due to the coronavirus pandemic. Next up on the headlines that you need to know, racing icon Richard Petty will attend Monday's NASCAR Cup Series race at Talladega Superspeedway to stand in solidarity with Bubba Wallace. Sources have told ESPN's Marty Smith. Petty decided to travel to the Alabama Superspeedway after a noose was found in Wallace's garage stall Sunday. Sources tell Smith that Petty was, quote, the most important thing for me, that Petty said, quote, the most important thing for me right now is hugging my driver. The race had been postponed from Sunday because of inclement weather. It'll mark the first race that Petty, at the age of 82, attends since the sport was shut down because of the coronavirus pandemic. Speaking of the coronavirus pandemic, before you hear from West Virginia, Best Virginia, one of the 24 teams in this year's version of the basketball tournament, TBT for short, has withdrawn from the event after one of its tested positive for COVID-19. The team has been anchored by several former West Virginia standouts, will not be a part of the competition. Per TBT officials, Best Virginia had the opportunity to compete without the player who tested positive, but instead chose to leave the competition. Best Virginia's remaining players would have been required to undergo multiple tests and quarantine for 14 days as part of the health and safety plan. Event